Crown molding is beautiful. LEDs are beautiful. What if we put them both together? But wait. Crown molding can be expensive and hard to install. What if there was a cheaper, simpler way to get the same result? Crown molding LEDs on a budget? Oh yeah. So how are we going to get this done? We have a bedroom that has crown molding that I've been looking at for a long time thinking, what a great place to put some LEDs. But I don't know how it's going to turn out. So before I go and put them all the way around the big bedroom, I thought I'd start with something smaller. And I also wanted to come up with a less expensive alternative to regular crown molding, which can get quite expensive. So here's what I did. These are plain white 12-volt LEDs. They're not smart. There's no data signal. There are no changing colors. You just apply power and they're on. I got 5-meter strings with 60 LEDs per meter. You can also get them in 30 LEDs per meter. So it just depends how bright do you want the light to be. I got these for $10 a string, but I've seen them recently for only $8 a string. I got the least expensive corner molding I could find. It's about 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch. And it cost me $3.50 for 8 feet. When I looked it up on Lowe's.com recently, it was $5.50 for 8 feet. So the price may change. It may be less or more in your area. You'll need some finishing nails, and you'll need a miter box or a miter saw or some other way to make perfect 45-degree corners. A little bit of white caulking to finish it off, and you'll want some kind of a switch. For me, for now, I'm going to just use a simple switch, but hopefully, before too long, I'll figure out some fun home assistant controlled switch. And that's all you'll need. With the lights in 5-meter strings and the molding in 8-foot lengths, we could figure out about what it costs per foot. And it comes out to about $1 per linear foot. So you get an idea of what it would cost to do whatever room you're planning. For power, I'm going to use my converted PC power supply from the previous video. If you haven't seen that one, here's the link. If you get the same lights I have, the box says they're 24 watts per string. Now if you divide that by the volts, in this case 12, we can figure out how many amps. I used 3 strings, so that's a total of 72 watts divided by 12 volts gives us 6 amps. Much more than you'll get from your standard 12-volt power supply that you might find laying around your house. I almost melted one of those when I was testing these, so be careful. I wasn't sure how far below the ceiling we wanted to put these to make it look the best, so we turned some lights on and tested them at different distances from the ceiling. I settled on about 3 inches from the ceiling as a pretty good distance. For us, that lit up the ceiling nicely. If we got much lower than that, it really highlighted the wall. So if you have something fancy on the wall, or if you have a border or a trim or something that's nice, you could go lower than that. But for us, we're going to stick with about 3 inches below the ceiling. Install the molding first. Before you stick the lights to the molding, plan out where you're going to supply power from. I tried running power just from one end all the way around, but the LEDs were definitely getting dimmer as they got about 3/4 of the way around the room. So after about 25 feet or so. So if you're going to do anything longer than about 2 strings of lights or 30 feet, you should probably plan on tapping in with extra 12-volt power at different spots along the string. These non-smart LEDs don't have a direction, so you can attach power to the far end of the lights. Just make sure that you're getting your positive and negative connections correct. You switch those, it won't work. Fortunately, it won't damage the lights either. Okay, once your molding is up, you can start sticking down the lights. Managing the corners wasn't as bad as I thought it might be. You can buy fancy corner connectors, but again, we're trying to do this on a budget. I found that these strings of LEDs can be bent and folded pretty easily. So when you get to the corner, if you just bunch up one of the joints, kind of like that, it sticks up a little bit, but it looks pretty nice. It's not too bad. You can pinch that together and it goes away. You can't see it from down below. You could also try getting up there and soldering it, but when you're 3 inches from the ceiling, that's kind of a pain. So you could use those fancy corner connectors, which are expensive, or you could try some soldering, which would be pretty difficult. And since the name of the game here is cheap and easy, neither one of those was going to work. You'll need to figure out how you want to hide the power wires that will go up to the molding. The ideal situation would be to be able to poke a hole behind the molding and run a wire down to where your switch is going to be or where your power outlet is or something like that. I used another strip of corner molding going down the wall, and that covered them up nicely. You are going to need a switch somewhere. I just mounted one near the power supply by my desk. Connecting the switch is easy. Just interrupt one of the wires that's going to the power supply and put the switch in there. Okay, that's it. Should be done. Let me tell you, mine looked amazing. Very, very happy with how they turned out. Well, that's it. I love the way this turned out. I could not be happier. It looks fantastic. It is much brighter than I thought it was going to be. It's really good. I'm very, very happy with it. I want this kind of lighting in every room. Okay? Adios. Time to play.